Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be testing the URUAV UE1 4in1 ESC. Now you might say, why the hell did you choose this one? Well, this is 20 bucks. It was $19.98 when I got it, and now it jumped up to 23 bucks. So I was really curious to see how well it tested. And not only that, when I received it and you take a closer look, you can actually see that these are modular and you can actually break one off and replace it if it ever goes bad. Theoretically, that's if we can find the parts for it, but that is really interesting for such a cheap ESC. Now, the main factor here is it going to perform? And I'm not going to make you wait until the end. This thing actually performs unbelievably good. This is the all-time new budget ESC. Now, I want you to remember something though. When I say it's good in terms of filtration, voltage spikes, thus meaning due to electrical characteristics, it's going to be fine. It's not going to fry an MCU anytime soon. So if you're looking for a 4S setup that is running just BLHeli-S ESCs, which is Xt60, no telemetry, no current sensing, just a 30 amp 4in1 ESC for 4S setup. Now here they're stating you can go up to 5S, but I just don't do it. But you can, but just don't do it. However, when you're connecting this, you have to be very careful of something. If you take a closer look here, you see usually you would have what, 6, right? 3 for each motor and 3 for each motor, but you don't have that. You have 8. And on the other side, you have 8 as well. And you'll be like, why is that? Well, you got to be careful because the middle ones are the power. So you can either power it up from this side or power it up from that side. And you choose, which is something that's really, really nice to have on this. It's pretty crazy here. It's just absolutely awesome. Now, you also have to take something into consideration. You got to be careful how you power this thing, because it might say minus here, but if you flip it over, this is actually positive, and that is how they were able to put all 4 together. And as you can tell, they're connected right here. Filtration looks minimal, but I don't know how the hell it performs so well. Maybe it's a very high capacitance. Obviously, the quality doesn't look so great here. One of them is kind of misaligned, but that's not really going to affect anything. You can go ahead and try to fix that yourself if yours comes that way. But in terms of raw performance, in terms of filtration, it did really great. There was no motor stutter. It didn't do anything weird when I do the stress testing on, which I was actually quite surprised. For example, DYS Aria Slim ESCs would stutter on very, like, just when you put an inrush of current in them, they would stutter in the motors. This one just took it like a beast, and it's just unbelievable. So we have our new budget 4in1 ESC, and I will be putting this on a quadcopter for sure to test its longevity, because the way it performs is absolutely phenomenal. So enough talking, let's just jump to the testing. Alright guys, so let's get started. What are we looking at here? On the left side we have the throttle noise test. On the right side we have the simulated aggressive flight maneuvers. On the bottom is the colored version, so we can see what was really going on with the voltage most of the time. Now what I can immediately see is you're not going to get any mid-throttle oscillations due to electrical noise, because the amplitude is really nice. It's compact within 5 volts here, because each square, so for example, this top of the line and that bottom line right there, that's 5 volts. So we can kind of see that it's 5 volts here. We're going to start comparing it to the ESCs right now. 100% throttle looked beautifully clean. There is no hiccups in that. 75 is always where the ESCs are the most noisy at, and that's that's where the mid-throttle oscillations sometimes comes from electrical noise. If you have a perfect tune, that's where your mid-throttle oscillations could be coming from. Here we have the simulated aggressive flight maneuvers looking phenomenal, and let's put this into perspective to start getting an idea. All right, so I'm going to first bring in the Aikon AK32, the 30x30, the $80 one. Now, this is considered a premium ESC due to its price and somewhat of its performance, and it can run 6S, which is what some people are looking for nowadays. Now, if we take a look at the throttle noise here, up top we have the new Aikon, and we can see that it's running, I don't want to say cleaner, but possibly cleaner here. It's really difficult. This is kind of weird, but the thing is, I didn't hear this in the motors. Usually when there's something going on, you could hear it, the motor would stutter, but it was running really nicely. Now what we can look at is the amplitude. The amplitude here for 75% throttle on the Aikon was within 5 volts, as you can tell right here. So if you just take this measurement of that and then just apply, it's basically 5 volts here, and it's the same thing here. And if we take a look at the simulated aggressive flight maneuvers noise, it is pretty insane because we get a little bit less voltage spikes. Now these voltage spikes don't really matter that much. They're not that high. I'll show you a very bad one in a bit, but it's looking like it's somewhat cleaner. I mean, I could kind of see what the motor is doing here through the voltage on the URUAV down here. And here, it still did really great, the Aikon, but they're still better than the Aikon and this one. But for a $20 4-in-1 ESC, this is insane. You could have never gotten a $20. You could have never paid $20 to get four ESCs that perform this good. It's crazy. Now and again, longevity is a whole different story, but this is going to go on a build of mine. I'm actually possibly going to remove a Holybro Tekko32 4-in-1 Metal ESC and stick this one on there, because that quad is my motor testing quad, and that's the one I'm going to be flying quite a lot on the channel, and then we could just see its overall longevity. Now let's bring in something else so we can get a better reference. We're gonna have to go with, for example, DYS REF 4-in-1 ESC. That was terrible. This is something you don't want to see. This is the voltage spikes that do matter, right here, this one right there. So now up top we have the DYS ARIA, and this is something you don't want to see. This is something you want to see, but the FETs could be better on this one. But the overall noise in a crash, like for example, if I were to stop 2 of those motors, this voltage spike would, what was the maximum? 30 volts from 16 volts, so it doubled its voltage. But if we were to even just stop the motor all of a sudden at once, it'd probably even get a higher voltage spike. On a 6S, you are definitely going to have some damage somewhere for the DYS ARIA. Now this one is just handling itself very, very well, very well. So let's bring in something else. T-motor F55 amp 4-in-1 ESC. Let's go ahead and bring that on, because this one's considered a premium ESC and one of the top ESCs in my opinion. So now up top we have the T-motor F55 amp 4-in-1 ESC, and look, it shares some of those characteristics with this one a little bit, but obviously this is running a little bit cleaner. But still, the amplitude here is around 4 volts on 75% throttle. This one's around 5 volts. That's still really good. I mean, compared to something like this, that's like a 10 volt amplitude, which is terrible. The full throttle is 5 volts. That's crazy. So this DYS ARIA 4-in-1 would have gave you mid-throttle oscillations, possibly due to electrical noise. So yeah, back again to the T-motor F55 amp. Do you see the reference here? And this one is still keeping its voltage pretty in a very small amplitude, which is something really nice. The capacitors on board are doing a really great job. And again, in terms of longevity, I cannot answer that for you, but if anyone's used it, let us know down in the comment section. I will be putting this on the motor testing quad so we can get a better reference. But as of right now, I feel comfortable putting this on my motor testing quad, which is a very critical quadcopter for the channel. So to take this step is a huge thing for me, and it's going to be a really great testing result as well. And well, I mean, that's it, guys. I can't really say anything else. I mean, I can show you a really bad ESC so you get an idea of something you don't want to see. Okay, so everything just kind of crashed because it had so many pictures open. What is this? This is the Aikon. Here we go. So yeah, this is the SpedX. So up top is the SpedX IS34in1 ESC. And again, SpedX is a great company, but this was a piece of shit ESC. They have other great good ESCs, but this one was like one of the worst I've ever tested from 4in1 ESCs. So this is what you don't want to see. This is what you want to see. This is what you don't want to see, and this is what you want to see. So here's a really good representation. This had a voltage spike of 31.4 volts. That's crazy. Voltage drop of 3.6. So basically, from a full battery, the voltage drop went down to 3.6. That's a blackout right there. Here, what did we have? Our voltage drop was what? 8.8. Let's double check. Max 16.8. Okay. Yep, 8.8 and 23 volts for the voltage spike. And here, yeah. So overall, it's a really good ESC in terms of filtration, in terms of these testing. And if anything were to happen with this ESC, it would have blown up on the spot, kind of like the Hobbywing one, because this is a very, very stressful test. It's a very harsh test that the motors just in 5 seconds get toasty hot. So I mean, that just tells you there's a lot of current going through, and it's doing a lot of really bad maneuvers basically to try to basically burn a motor. But we're just stressing the ESC here, and for it to handle this well, that's actually quite amazing. And well, that's it guys. I'll have linked everything down below if you could check those out. That really supports the channel. And again, if I helped you avoid a purchase or make a purchase, if you could use them, those greatly support the channel as well, and will enable me to bring more things in for testing. And I also do have a Patreon. That'd be super great if you could support me there. And I'll see you in the next one guys. Peace out.